The first thing, we shift our focus to the Patamos Beach in Greece. The Patamos Beach, it is a famous tourist attraction in Greece. The seawater here is clean, and the beach is gentle. The water depth near the shore is only waist deep. It's very suitable for children to learn swimming. It is the best choice for parent-child tourism. The first thing we're going to talk about today is about this beach. It's July 11th, 2025, in the morning. 40-year-old father, Nijipiter, with his 10-year-old daughter Anna, swam in the shallow water not far from the shore, but they didn't realize there was a submarine current nearby. As they slowly approached the current, the powerful current quickly pulled them away from the shore. As they drifted further, within a few minutes, they were pulled into the deep sea. They drifted deeper and deeper, and they were just swimming, without wearing life jackets. The two could only float on the sea with their hands and feet. As time passed, they were wet, choked on water, and exhausted. They had been floating on the sea for over an hour. Now, it was only a matter of time before they died. At the same time and place, a 21-year-old kite surfer, Anastasios Garipis, happened to pass through this area. Let's take a look at the footage captured by his head-mounted camera. At this moment, Garipis had no idea the situation of the father and daughter. It can be seen that, on the edge of this open sea, there was no coastline visible, only the boundless sea. At this time, a small white dot on the sea caught his attention. Seeing the helpless father and daughter, he quickly handed over the surfboard on his feet. The two grabbed the surfboard like a lifesaver and grabbed the surfboard tightly. At that time, another surfer, Isat, also discovered the father and daughter shortly after. This video didn't capture Isat because there was no satellite phone at that time, so they decided to split up. Pi stayed here to look after the father and daughter, while Isat rode a kite surfboard to seek help in the direction of the boat. When he found the boat, the fisherman contacted the Greek Coast Guard. Then the fisherman took Isat and took him to the dangerous location. 45 minutes later, the fishing boat arrived at the sea where the father and daughter were. The two finally successfully boarded the fishing boat, thanks to the surfers, who happened to meet and rescued them. The chance is really not big, but luckily they were lucky. Otherwise they would have died in the sea. Later, Hungarian President Tomasek personally awarded them the national highest honor medal to express their heroic behavior. The rescued father and daughter also came to the scene and thanked the two athletes for saving their lives. This is really a very positive thing. The second thing, let's shift our focus to the Ujjain railway station in Madhya Pradesh, India. It was May 4th, 2026. The man sitting on the bench just turned on the camera when he saw a woman who accidentally fell out of the car. After getting up, the woman was a little flustered. She checked the next door and was about to get on the train. It turned out that this was a mother who accidentally fell out of the train, but her child was still on the train, so she disregarded her own safety and insisted on getting on. This behavior was really quite dangerous. Otherwise, she might fall directly the rails and become a neutrino. Fortunately, with the help of others, she successfully got on the train. However, this kind of behavior is very, very discouraged. It violates the platform rules of the train station, but also endanger your own life. We can't jump off the train or block the train. If your belongings or family encounter an emergency on the train, please contact the train attendant or the staff on the platform. They will help you in time. This will ensure your safety, but also help you out quickly. The third thing, let's shift our focus to the city of Aligarh in Uttar Pradesh, India. It was April 25th, 2026. At that time, the Aligarh municipal government was CM Grade Plan. This plan aimed to upgrade roads to modern and intelligent to improve traffic flow and safety. At this time, we can see that excavators have dug up the road. 33-year-old worker Mahindra Singh was working in the lowest ditch. Just as he was holding tools and was about to go to the bottom, the mud wall next to him suddenly collapsed. Mahendra was heavily smashed into the puddle. His colleagues quickly went down to save him. But due to the lack of suitable tools, human power could not quickly dig the earth to save him. They quickly directed the excavator above to start digging. The driver who heard the news quickly dug a shovel in the nearby ditch to let the previous falling soil flow into the pit, but it didn't have the expected effect. So he quickly dumped the soil on top and prepared to shovel again. In fact, the workers helping below are also in a very dangerous situation because the wall just has already appeared a concave surface, which may collapse again at any time after the bulldozer dumped the soil to dig the second time. After searching for a long time, couldn't find it. So the man in white directed the excavator to start digging for the third time. Then the workers started to search the buried Mahendra. After more than 3 minutes, they finally found him. Then, his colleagues rushed him to a nearby hospital. But due to his severe injuries and long period of hypoxia after the rescue, Mahendra, he still became a neutrino and left this world. This tragedy has aroused the anger of the victim's family and colleagues. They accused that workers were working without sufficient protection. Worked continuously was the main cause of the accident. The local government was also urged to thoroughly investigate the accident and hold the responsible parties legally accountable. Workers should never work in a dangerous environment, risk their lives. The fourth thing, which is a bit terrifying. Let's shift our focus to Vietnam, in a rubber factory in Gia Lai province. It's the evening of May 7th, 2026. On the evening of May 7th, around 6 o'clock, 34-year-old worker Ji Wen climbed into the rubber blender to feed materials. His job is to use a hook and a climbing tool to push rubber raw materials into the machine to crush. This job seems to be quite dangerous, but Ji Wen seemed to disagree. He still worked leisurely. As he was pushing a large piece of rubber into the machine, he didn't let go, and then he was sucked into the high-speed running crusher. Ji Wen tried to escape, but the blender got in his way and couldn't get out. As he gradually disappeared, all we could hear was his screams. This scene is a bit cruel. I can't bear to look directly. Later, the safflower oil was sprayed directly out, sprayed on the machine, and even some meat chunks were sprayed out of the inlet. Ji Wen was instantly neutrino. After the Criminal Investigation Bureau of the Gia Lai Provincial Public rushed to the accident scene. After preliminary investigation, except for Ji Wen at the scene, there was no other person. What's outrageous is meat grinder didn't have an emergency brake switch, which ultimately led to his unfortunate death. I think the reason is, it's because production safety wasn't done properly. This operation method is too dangerous. People can't go in to feed the material. It was only a matter of time before this happened. When you are working, must pay attention to safety production. Take it as a warning. The fifth thing, let's shift our focus to the United States. Denver International Airport in Colorado. It's May 8th, 2026. This is the video taken by the ground thermal imaging device. 41-year-old Michael Mott on the east side of the airport overturned a 2.4-meter-high barbed wire fence. Within 2 minutes, crossed the open area and multiple taxiways of the airport, and directly rushed onto the main runway 17L. At this moment, a flight F94345 bound for Los Angeles began to accelerate at 235 kilometers per hour. As a result, the man was instantly sucked into the right engine. Then the engine caught fire instantly. The captain immediately braked to interrupt the flight. This is the footage taken by a tourist on the plane. Then all 231 people on board were evacuated. Among them, there were 12 injured passengers, and 5 were sent to hospital for treatment. On May 12th, the forensic doctor officially ruled it as suicide. This man had a long criminal record since 2002, and was arrested many times. Before the accident, he did not leave a suicide message to his family. After the incident, Denver Airport immediately blocked runway 17L. Firefighters put out the fire and towed the plane for inspection. The runway was reopened 12 hours later. At the same time, emergency patrols were added, upgraded monitoring equipment, and strictly checked for loopholes in the surrounding guardrails. In short, this is a suicide incident due to insufficient security. I also hope all airports can learn from this and take precautions for such incidents. So let's start the main part. Today we're going to talk about Soul Broken Water Park, the El Dorado Water Fitness Center. It's in Scottsdale, Arizona, USA. Scottsdale, Arizona, United States. The fitness center was very lively in August. Parents would bring their children here for leisure, entertainment, and swimming, and although it is not large in scale, but the facilities are relatively complete. There is a 13-lane standard temperature pool, a shallow water area, and a children's water park. There is also a gym indoors. The most striking thing is that there are 2 giant adult water slides. One is a fully enclosed red slide in a pipe. The other is a semi-open high-speed slide. What happened today is related to this slide. The protagonist of the story is Ryan Kelly. At the age of 31, he has no stable job and fixed residence. In other words, he is a long-term homeless person in this community. On weekdays, he likes to wander around at night. On the late night of August 17, 2020, he was unbearably hot. He was staggering alone. He came to the Water Fitness Center. It was so hot, he wanted to go swimming. Seeing no one around, he quietly climbed over the fence and jumped into the closed park. Then he plunged into the pool and started playing in the water. The pool was cool and comfortable at night. He swam alone in the water to cool off and enjoyed the joy of having the pool to himself. After playing in the water, he climbed up. Then his eyes was attracted by the towering large water slide. But he didn't go the entrance of the slide. Instead, he turned his attention to the steel cylinder pipe that supports the entire slide. So he climbed up the steel cylinder without hesitation. And then he slid into the inside of this 4-meter-high steel pipe. But he never expected that this action that would push him into the abyss of doom. The inner wall of the steel pipe is with no place to hold on. The space was narrow and cramped, and he instantly slid to the bottom. And he went in head first. Now he is supporting the bottom of the pipe, head touching the ground. If he stayed in this position for a long time, easily cause cerebral congestion. The air below is relatively scarce, and he would pass out due to lack of oxygen. So he began to shout for help constantly, but the sound was very weak. It was hard to hear clearly outside what he was saying. Time passed by minute. Ryan, who was stuck in the pipe, Ryan's discomfort had reached its peak. You know the diameter of the inner wall of this pipe is only 90 centimeters. Every second spent inside is like a year. It was around 12:30 in the morning. The night patrol officer Brian Reynolds passed by here. He vaguely heard there were intermittent cries for help from the venue. But what puzzled him was that, although he heard the sound of help, he couldn't identify the direction of the sound, because this giant steel pipe is like a natural acoustic amplifier. Although Ryan's cry for help spread throughout the entire venue, it also completely disrupted the direction of sound propagation. Moreover, the voice of Ryan speaking with his head down was vague, and it was impossible to hear what he was saying, so the police didn't know where he was. Ryan knew it was no small matter. He immediately contacted other police officers to the scene for search and rescue. Then, one after another, 12 more police officers came to conduct a search and investigation together. Everyone searched around following the sound. After nearly 2 hours of searching, they finally located him. But to rescue Ryan, it was another big problem. The pipe wall was too narrow. No one could go down. The only way was to dismantle the entire slide structure and then cut the steel pipe. So everyone started a long dismantling process. The rescuers used a crane cable to firmly hang the entire giant load-bearing steel pipe to prevent the steel pipe from sagging during cutting. To squeeze Ryan, then they removed all the auxiliary steel frames around. Then firefighters held chainsaws and angle grinders to start sawing the steel pipe. They roughly measured Ryan's position. Then they started sawing from the top of the foot and below the head. This can avoid Ryan being burned by sparks. When the pipe was sawed open, the firefighters carefully took Ryan, who was in an upside-down slowly position, dragged it out. But Ryan, who was trapped in a confined and small space, had already passed away. After further investigation, determined that Ryan died was caused by posture compression and suffocation, resulted from the combined effects. This bizarre and tragic accident has also become the most typical UB fear tragedy, because Ryan Kelly was trespassing, and his family's financial conditions were average, without money or a lawyer in the US, and the deceased was an intruder. No one will take the initiative to help you fight a lawsuit, so Ryan's father didn't get a penny. But Ryan's friend, Emily Erickson, on the crowdfunding platform, raised $3,000 for his family. This money helped Ryan's father to pay for the cremation and funeral expenses. After the incident was exposed, it instantly sparked heated discussions online. It also warned all amusement parks and outdoor industrial buildings. Those seemingly ordinary dead ends of building structures often hide deadly dangers. For momentary curiosity ultimately led to irreversible lifelong regrets. That's all for this video. It's not easy to make. Please give me more support. Thank you for your support.